to handle the pressure from my 4 overbearing brothers to get married. I boldly claimed I would marry no one but the crown prince of the capital. My brothers were left speechless and had no choice but to give up. This allowed me to avoid blind dates for a full 3 years. Everyone in the circle praised me for my unwavering devotion to the crown prince, saying I hadn't changed my heart in 3 years. I secretly laughed to myself behind their backs because I didn't even know who he was. Anyway, that so-called crown prince hasn't returned to the country in over a decade. This works perfectly as my shield. A few days later, while I was attending a banquet, I was suddenly pulled aside by my childhood friend, Han Chocho. This is bad, this is really bad. I just overheard my dad say that Chinwook is coming. Han Chocho said anxiously. What? I was so shocked that I almost spilled my champagne. No way, that can't be true. I haven't even heard anything about him coming back to the country. Is your information reliable? Absolutely true. He returned to the Chin family last night. I heard from my dad that Chinwook personally called him. Said he was coming to celebrate my grandfather's birthday. He should be arriving soon. What should I do now? Damn it, he's coming. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have shown up. For someone who's always fearless, I showed a hint of panic. Should I just leave now? My dad has already arranged for someone to prepare for the reception. I guess someone on the scene has already received the news by now. Leaving now would be way too obvious. Wouldn't that be like telling everyone that you're afraid to face Chinwook? Your current persona is supposed to be someone who admires him. You should be eager to meet him, shouldn't you? I'm panicking, but it's because I'm feeling guilty. I haven't even met him yet. I'm just good at talking big behind closed doors. I can't fake it in front of him. Then just wait for your grandma to keep pushing you into blind dates. Han Chocho waved her hand and said, Chocho, my dearest Chocho, for the sake of all the years we've been partners in mischief, help me out, will you? Otherwise, I'll just tell my grandma that I've shifted my affection and fallen in love with you. Please, young Master Tang, have mercy. I'm really worried your grandmother might seriously consider arranging a marriage with my family. I absolutely refuse to let my marriage be ruined because of your group of bad friends. I won't sacrifice my future for a bunch of troublemakers like you. Han Chocho waved her hand. She resolutely declined, looking across the entire empire in silence. There's only one person like Chinwook. Your grandmother has no way to force him to marry you. All for the sake of your endlessly wonderful single life. Just go ahead and act it out. I reflected on the past year of my life, the carefree and blissful moments. Resignedly, I closed my eyes. All right. Let the storm rage even fiercer. Wuk, how long do you plan to stay in the country this time? Chin Yulin slightly turned his head. His peach blossom-shaped eyes glanced at Chinwook beside him as he spoke. Chinwook sat upright in the back seat of the car, without even lifting his eyelids. The gaze rested on the laptop screen perched on the knees. The gold-rimmed glasses reflected the scrolling pages of the English project proposal on the screen. The sharp and defined brows, the straight and well-proportioned nose, the thinly shaped lips, the clean-cut jawline, the chiseled and coldly proud features. Every line of the profile formed its own distinct ridges. An aura of aloofness and detachment radiated from every part of him. An aura that warned strangers to stay away. Chinwook quickly skimmed through at a glance, closed the laptop and set it aside, instructed the assistant in the passenger seat. I've reviewed the proposal for the bridge project. There's nothing problematic. Let the project team proceed directly. Understood, Mr. Chin. Only then did Wook take off his glasses and look at Chin Yulin. His calm, deep eyes were sharp and profound. It seems that even the most beautiful scenery cannot blend in. The hardest part of the overseas business has already been resolved. If I still need to stay abroad, then there's no need for me to support so many people under me. Chin Yulin chuckled twice and clapped his hands lightly a couple of times. President Chin's words are truly unique. Are you saying that now you're back, you won't be leaving again? Chinwook nodded slightly. Grandfather is getting on in years. I still can't stop worrying. It seems like they're staying. You're still taking care of Grandpa? That lady is not in good health right now. Grandpa is never home all day. He's been keeping her company the entire time. We handle Grandpa's matters. It's not appropriate for the younger generation to casually comment. Chin Wuchie sternly reminded. I almost forgot that Grandpa raised you. Well, it's been years since we last got together. Just the two of us. Looks like I've got myself another drinking buddy from now on. Hearing this, Chinwook reacted. He frowned slightly. Don't bother inviting me to those chaotic drinking parties. Relax, I know my limits. By the way, now that you're back in the country, isn't it time you started thinking about settling down? You're already 28 years old. Even Grandpa has mentioned it to me multiple times. You're not much different at 27. Why not give it some thought? Chin Wook didn't think much of it. He casually replied, if I were to get married, wouldn't the young men in the capital be heartbroken? Speaking of which, you've been single since birth for so many years. Even I have no idea what type you like. Chin Yulin rested his chin on his hand and pondered. Surely you're not planning to be a monk your whole life, are you? Chin Wook responded, if you can't control that mouth of yours, I'll just find you a marriage partner right away, and let them deal with your mouth. Oh no, Mr. Chin, I was wrong, please forgive me. Alright, then let me share some gossip. Chin Yulink's eyes lit up. I think I should be present there today. Oh, I can't wait to see his reaction to you. Who am I? Chin Wook asked without even lifting his head. It sounded almost like a casual question. You forgot that I mentioned it to you before. The most notorious playboy of the imperial capital. The young master of the Tang family who shamelessly declared he would marry no one but you. Chin Wook slightly raised his eyebrows. Finally managed to recall it from some obscure corner of his mind. Chin Yulin seemed to have mentioned it to him. Chin Wook didn't seem to care. Such trivial matters were not worth his attention. You actually believe the wild boasts of a child? The child is 3 years younger than you. Chin Yulin glanced at the mature and composed Chin Wook, not bothering to argue with him any further. President Chin has arrived. Chong Chao timely reminded Wook. Just returned to the country last night, and today you've already honored us with your presence. You must be exhausted. The old master knew you were coming. It was an indescribable joy. The head of the Han family personally came to the door to warmly welcome Chin Wook inside. He enthusiastically invited Chin Wook into the house. Chin, Tang, Han, Li, and Chu, the 5 prominent families of the imperial capital. The Chin family had long been at the top in terms of wealth and reputation. A few years ago, after Chin Wook took over the Chin family, he expanded the Chin family's business even further. Now, the other 4 families have fallen far behind. Chin Wook is still remarkably young. However, his business tactics are seasoned and shrewd. He relies on his ruthless confidence. Anyone who has ever gone up against him has almost always ended in a crushing defeat. Nowadays, no one dares to underestimate this young head of the Chin family. Master Han, you are too kind. I am merely a junior. It is only proper to come and celebrate old Master Han's 90th birthday. I truly do not deserve the honor of being called a guest of distinction. Chin Wook spoke politely. His face remained calm and composed. There wasn't even a trace of a polite or friendly smile. The head of the Han family didn't mind much. He smiled and said, let me take you upstairs to meet the old master first. We'll join the banquet when the time is right. All right. Chin Wook nodded slightly. The group followed the Han family head upstairs. Wien, I saw Chin Wook earlier. My dad took him to meet my grandpa first. Han Chocho hurried over anxiously. She reported Chin Wook's whereabouts to me. Chocho, I'm feeling scared. Even in an air-conditioned room, I was sweating nervously. I heard that Chin Wook has a fierce reputation. You know that too, don't you? In the business world, companies that dare to oppose him usually end up failing. I was speaking so recklessly. What if he sees me and decides to beat me up? You once claimed you wouldn't marry anyone but her. So what are you afraid of now? Don't back down, just go for it. Today is my grandfather's 90th birthday. Besides, he has to show respect to your Tang family, doesn't he? No matter what, he won't lay a hand on you. Han Chocho cheered me on enthusiastically. At that moment, I acted purely on impulse. I had no idea it would end up becoming a public spectacle. The more I thought about it, the guiltier I felt. But think about it carefully. You've used Chin Wook as a shield for so long. Taking a beating was worth it, wasn't it? I straightened my back. No way, no one touches my face. I'll fight him with all I've got. My body is just as precious. Not even a strand of my hair can be touched. Maybe I should leave first. What about my dignity? It's almost time to take your seat. You're here representing the Tang family. If you're not present at the banquet, that would be far too obvious. Everyone will undoubtedly say you've admired Chin Wook for so long. And now that he's finally returned to the country, you don't even dare to face him. Z's Tell me, is this really the style of the little tyrant of the imperial city? Standing firm even in the face of blood and sacrifice. I can't afford to lose face. I'm going all out today. If Qin Wuk dares to lay a hand on me, I'll call the police. You really are something. Han Chocho gave a thumbs up. Wuk, from now on, I won't stay with you anymore. Since you just got back to the country, a lot of people will probably come to greet you later. I'll wander around on my own. Qin Yulin patted Qin Wuk on the shoulder. The path is invisible to me. Cannot see it. Qin Wuk frowned at the fish scales. Did you hear any strange sounds? Qin Wuk shook his head and said no. What's wrong? Qin Wuk listened closely, but there was nothing again. There's nothing, maybe I heard it wrong. Qin Wuk nodded and said, then I'll be on my way. As expected, there was a crowd waiting to have a word with Qin Wuk, who had just returned to the country. However, everyone noticed Qin Wuk seemed somewhat distracted. Sorry, I'm feeling a bit tired. As soon as Qin Wuk said this, everyone tactfully stepped away. Mr. Qin, are you all right? Song Chao could tell Qin Wuk didn't look too well. He asked softly, Song Chao, did you hear any sounds? Qin Wuk raised his hand and pressed his temple. He wondered if he was so exhausted that he was hallucinating. Mr. Qin, I'm not sure what sound you're referring to. It's like someone is speaking right next to you. They're saying, you can't see me. You can't see me. Just like that. Song Chao froze in place. After hesitating for a moment, he cautiously said, Mr. Qin, You don't think you've encountered a ghost, do you? Qin Wuk shot Song Chao a sharp, piercing look, swallowed hard while standing on the bridge, responded to Mr. Qin. I honestly didn't hear the sound you mentioned. Forget it, maybe I've just been too tired lately. It must have been an auditory illusion, right? No one can see me. No one can spot me. I stood amidst the crowd. My eyes occasionally glanced toward Qin Wuk, who wasn't far away, quietly repeated in my mind, silently hoping. Han Chocho patted my shoulder, offered silent reassurance. Don't worry, Qin Wuk is definitely seated at the same table as my grandfather and the others. We'll just eat at our table. There are so many people around. He won't even notice you, but we're sitting at the table next to his. We're not that far apart. I was terrified. He looked like he must be around 6'3". If he really decided to pick a fight with me, wouldn't I be completely defenseless against him? I think you're just worrying over nothing. He probably doesn't even care about this at all. If he really wanted to make a fuss about it, he would have confronted you about it a year ago. Stay quiet and take a seat for now. I saw Qin Yulin. That scumbag was at the party held at my home. Also thinking about flirting with guys. Keep dreaming, will you? Han Chocho said as she prepared to roll up her sleeves and stand up. But I held her back. Chocho, you already broke up with him. Why bother worrying so much about him? Don't leave me here alone. Okay, even after breaking up, he should still know how to act appropriately. Today is my grandfather's birthday celebration. Wait for me. I'll be right back. Watching closely, Qin Yulin was chatting and laughing with several handsome young men. Without saying a word, Han Chocho shook off my hand and walked straight toward Qin Yulin. I glanced around at Han Chocho, trying not to draw any attention from those nearby. I could only mutter complaints under my breath. This traitor who ditches friends for beauty really shows poor judgment in friendships. Dear friends and family, everyone is kindly requested to move to the dining hall and take their seats. We are about to begin the banquet. Mr. Han values the traditional meaning of family unity. Thus, the birthday celebration is arranged with everyone seated around a circular table, sharing a lively and joyous meal together. I deliberately waited until Qin Wuk was seated, before quietly entering the dining hall. As expected, Qin Wuk had already taken the seat to the left of the main position at the head table. The main seat naturally belongs to today's birthday honoree, Chairman Han. I was just about to sneak over quietly, when suddenly a hand grabbed my shoulder, giving me quite a scare. Chocho, are you trying to frighten me to death? I turned around, and saw Han Chocho with Qin Yulin following behind her. My heart tightened instantly. Oh no, why is it someone with the last name Qin again? Yulin was smiling with a meaningful expression. Is it true that young Master Tang, who claims he'll marry our Qin Wuk? Why are you lurking around at the door? too scared to go in. Could it be that you're afraid to face Chinwook? My competitive spirit has been ignited. If it were me, of course I would. Would I ever be afraid of Chinwook? How ridiculous. Even Han Chocho is siding with me. Let's go, Wu Yan. Don't bother with that flirtatious butterfly who loves stirring up trouble. Autumn, remember we already broke up. You're so jealous. Could it be that you still have feelings for me? Qin Yulin's peach blossom eyes sparkled with charm. Han Chocho rolled her eyes. She ignored him and pulled me along inside. With this delay, most of the people had already taken their seats. The remaining 3 seats on the table were reserved for the 3 of us. I glanced at the seating arrangement. My heart skipped a beat. They were all separated, and there was only 1 seat facing away from the main table. The other 2 seats were perfectly positioned to face the main table and Chinwook across from it. In a moment of urgency, my foot moved hastily. I was just about to force myself to take the seat facing away from the main table. But Qin Yulin, seemingly on purpose, rushed ahead and grabbed the seat first. Qin Yulin looked at me with a mischievous grin on his face. Why is young Master Tang standing there in a daze? Hurry up and take a seat. Han Chocho cast a mournful glance my way. She casually chose one of the remaining 2 seats and sat down. I clenched my teeth. Switching seats now would be far too obvious. Besides, Qin Yulin is also at this table. It's clear he's here just to enjoy the drama. There's no way I'll let him have his way. All I could do was silently hope for the best. Chinwook made an effort not to draw attention to himself. He quietly took a seat. You can't see me. You can't see me. You are unable to see me. The voice that had vanished for a moment reappeared in Chinwook's ears. He could even sense a faint and indistinct gaze falling upon him, muttering over and over again. It had always been these few words, even hummed the tune slightly. Chinwook was certain he wasn't imagining things. He suspected that he might actually be possessed. Chinwook's sharp phoenix-like eyes scanned the entire scene. He didn't notice anything unusual. Just as he lowered his gaze, that secretive glance reappeared. Chinwook suddenly focused his attention and looked over, only to meet a pair of bright, star-like eyes as lively as a deer's gaze. The endless whispering echoing in my ears suddenly turned into a panicked exclamation. Oh no, he saw me. I didn't expect that just sneaking a glance would lead to locking eyes with Qin Wuchia directly. My heart instantly tightened. I quickly lowered my head. Pretending to stay calm, I fiddled with the non-existent food in my bowl. He must have seen me, right? I just knew it. I look so good. I must be catching everyone's attention. What should I do now? Should I sneak another glance? He probably isn't looking at me anymore, right? What if we make eye contact again? I must be overthinking it. He's probably just glancing around casually. There's no way he knows who I am. I have no idea that all these inner thoughts of mine were entirely picked up by Chinwook's ears. Chinwook stared intently into the distance at the young man whose head was almost buried in the rice bowl. Realizing that he could actually hear the young man's inner voice, an unbelievable realization. Chinwook's eyes narrowed slightly, wondering why it seemed like the young man was so afraid of being noticed by him. While Chinwook was still speculating over this, in my heart, I've already introduced myself. You're practically the little tyrant of the capital city. How could I possibly be this timid? But I'm really scared he might hit me. He does look a bit intimidating. Life is just so hard for me. Maybe I should just make a phone call. I'll have all the bodyguards at home come over to protect me. Wouldn't it be way too embarrassing if someone else saw this? Chinwook stared at the person in front of him with great interest. The timid little quail kept his head down. He couldn't help but find it amusing. So this is the person who boldly claimed he'd marry me. Turns out, this bold talker is actually him. All that bragging had everyone talking non-stop, but in the end, he's just this cowardly. Such a childish personality. He really has been spoiled by the Tang family. Out of respect for the Tang family, he wouldn't stoop to arguing with an immature kid. Next to Chinwook stood the head of the Han family. He noticed Chinwook wearing a faint smile. It seemed like he was in a pretty good mood, just as he was about to strike up a conversation. Who would have thought Chinwook's expression would turn grim the very next second? Meeting him in person made it clear that Chinwook's aura was truly imposing. If I had known this earlier, I wouldn't have spoken so recklessly back then. Using him as a scapegoat was definitely a bad idea. Ugh, it's just a blind date, isn't it? Wouldn't it have been better to just stay abroad peacefully? You returned to the country. It's so hard for me to act naturally. Qin Wuqie decided to take back the thought he had earlier. He really should help the Tang family. He ought to properly teach this spoiled kid a lesson, using him as an excuse just to avoid a blind date, and it even became public knowledge. My head is pounding with pain. She sneakily and quickly glanced at Qin Wuqie again. Why are you still staring at me? Could it be that they truly know who I am? Are they planning to settle scores with me? Big brother, boss. Mr. Qin, please stop staring at me. Haven't you ever seen a handsome guy before? Qin Wuq felt a surge of cold laughter in his heart. Never seen such a shamelessly handsome guy. Wuq, why aren't you eating? Is it not to your liking? The elderly man beside Qin Wuq, Mr. Han. Seeing that Qin Wuq remained motionless, someone quickly asked if the food wasn't to his liking. He seemed lost in thought, pondering over something. Qin Wuq withdrew his gaze. He picked up his chopsticks. I ate the meal absent-mindedly, unable to enjoy the taste. It felt like forever before the banquet finally ended. What relieved me was Qin Wuq didn't seem to care about him at all. After the banquet, Qin Wuq left first. There was absolutely no intention of causing him trouble. I feel as though I've judged him with a petty heart, mistaking his integrity. Qin Wuq paused and turned around. A cold gaze swept past me without leaving a trace. The tension in his posture visibly eased. The emotions in his eyes were obscure and hard to read. I understand. There's still plenty of time ahead. 1 year. Previously, the Tang family said nothing, so I arranged for you to meet the young lady of the Liu family. You absolutely must go and meet them. Both your grandfather and I have seen the photo. They are good-looking and kind-hearted. They also have an impressive education background, although their family background is slightly less prominent. I heard they have quite a good impression of you. Let me warn you in advance. This time, you are not allowed to be late. No fooling around is permitted, and you must not skip it. Did you hear that? Madame Tang solemnly instructed me. My cheerful expression slowly cracked. I protested vehemently. Grandma, I'm only 24. This is the perfect age to enjoy life to the fullest. How could I possibly waste my precious time on blind dates? I silently grumbled in my mind. Women would only slow down my gaming progress. What's the point of being in a relationship? Can it ever be as fun as playing games? Is horse racing fun? Is car racing fun? I am a firm believer in being single. Long live the single life. Your family spoils you too much. That's why you've been spoiled to this extent. Your 4 brothers are all married. You're the only one left. Grandma is already so old. Her only worry is you. You really should think more about Grandma. Madame Tang spoke as she deliberately coughed twice. She pretended to look frail and elderly. The corners of my mouth twitched. Grandma, just last night you said you wanted to go clubbing with me. With your energy, you could easily live another 20 years. Madame Tang looked a bit embarrassed. She muttered that Grandma isn't trying to force anything on you. No one's pressuring you to find someone and get married right away. She's just suggesting you keep an open mind and look around more. Get to know the young ladies from all the prominent families better. Build some connections and deepen relationships. You might just find someone you truly like soon. Grandma, I really can't hold a conversation with those young ladies. I remembered the fear of being forced into matchmaking in the past. Gritting my teeth, I said, Grandma, let me be honest with you. I'm not interested in women. To my surprise, Madame Tang accepted it quite well, gave his shoulder a pat and said, you should have mentioned it earlier. Grandma, I'm not someone who can't be reasonable. I'll find you a few handsome young men someday. Grandma, ask a little more. Sweet grandchild, are you from above or below? It's better to clarify this first. Otherwise, it might be awkward to end up with the same one. The corners of my mouth twitched. My brain was racing at full speed. In the end, she blurted out, Grandma, there's no need to keep looking. I already have someone I like. Madame Tang's face lit up with delight. Who is it? Quickly tell Grandma. Which family's child is it? Grandma must lend us a good hand here. Silent and with eyes wide open, my mind was completely in chaos. I couldn't come up with a decent name no matter how hard I tried. My finger pointed aimlessly. The gaze landed on the magazine cover lying on the table. It's him, I like him. Madame Tang's breathing was steady. Asked in disbelief, my dear grandson, are you saying you like Qin Wuq? I took a deep breath, thinking to myself, this young master is going all in. Declared firmly and resolutely, that's right, I will marry none other than Qin Wuq. If I can't marry her, I've been single my entire life. Today it's all about eating, drinking, and having fun casually. This young master is picking up the tab. There was a hint of drunkenness in my eyes, sitting excitedly on the couch, holding up the bottle. Everyone cheered and shouted their thanks to young Master Tang. Tonight's venue is filled with wealthy heirs from circles I'm familiar with. Almost all are like-minded playboys, but none of their family businesses compare to the Tang family. Pocket money could never compare to the limitless support the Tang family gave me. I enjoy having fun and am generous when I spend. Everyone is happy to get close to him. Qin Yulin, what kind of place did you choose? The noise next door is unbearable. Qin Wuk had just arrived not long ago. He hadn't even taken a sip of the drink. Before slamming the glass heavily onto the table, he couldn't help but furrow his brows and say, "Wuk, the soundproofing in this club is already quite good. Being able to spend money here and have this much fun. It's probably just me in the entire capital. How can you be so sure?" Qin Yulin took out his phone. He opened his social media feed, because he had just posted on his social media not long ago. Qin Wuk glanced at the photo on the phone screen. My face was flushed red. Clearly, I was already showing signs of being drunk, with my arms around a group of people. It looks like he's having an absolute blast. Qin Wuk took Qin Yulin's phone, opened my social media feed, and discovered his entertainment life is incredibly vibrant and diverse. He truly lives up to his reputation as the top playboy of the capital. Qin Wuk put on a charming facade, pretending to be deeply infatuated with me, even making it a well-known topic among everyone. But in private, he indulges in a life of debauchery and excess. Tang Wuyan was well aware that he needed to take responsibility for whatever he said. Qin Yulin noticed that Qin Wuk's expression was far from pleasant. Suddenly, he stood up and walked out, looking completely puzzled. "Wuk, where are you heading?" The others in the private room were all part of the Qin family circle. They quickly stood up and said, "President Qin looks like he's about to get into a fight. Should we hurry and follow him? Could it be that Wuk intends to become Tang Wuyan? Tang Wuyan is truly the apple of the Tang family's eye. If Tang Wuyan gets hurt, the Tang family might stop at nothing to come after us." Qin Yulin slapped his thigh and hurriedly followed along. He pushed open the heavy private room door. The already blaring music and the sounds of laughter and play suddenly amplified several times over, eagerly rushing into the ears. Qin Wuk's brows furrowed even deeper. Silhouettes overlapped within the room. Qin Wuk's gaze swept across the scene, accurately capturing the scene at the center of the private room, where someone was casually putting an arm around another's shoulder. Laughing, chatting, and drinking, Tang Wuyan was at ease. The person closest to the door was the first to notice the private room. They entered, glanced briefly at Qin Wuk. "Who are you?" Qin Wuk shot them a sharp glance. The voice sounded like it had reached the very limit of tolerance. "Go turn off the music, all right?" Suddenly, the music stopped abruptly. Everyone looked displeased at the person who turned off the music. Tang Wuyan was the first to lash out. "What are you doing? Keep playing it. Party all night long." Yes. Qin Wuchie is here to ruin my event." Qin Wuk's gaze, carrying a hint of chill, rested on Tang Wuyan's face. It landed squarely on Tang Wuyan's expression. A faint blush tinted Tang Wuyan's cheeks. On the surface, he tried his best to maintain an appearance of composed calmness, but the slight tremble in his eyes and the tightly pressed thin lips all betrayed the unease he felt deep inside. The room fell into an eerie silence. No one spoke for a moment, not even daring to breathe too heavily. Everyone's gaze subtly swept back and forth between Qin Wuk and Tang Wuyan, their minds swirling with all sorts of gossip and speculation. Tang Wuyan forced herself to remain calm. With a faint smile, she said, "Mr. Qin, it's an honor to have you here. Why not sit down and have a drink? Hurry up and turn me down. Quickly say you walked into the wrong room. Please leave quickly, oh dear." He looks so intimidating. I wonder if anyone would be willing to risk everything to save me, to offend Qin Wuk. Oh heavens! I am willing to balance meat and vegetables for a lifetime, to stay up late and wake up late every day. If only Qin Wuk could leave my private room right now, immediately. Tang Wuyan's duplicitous little schemes somehow amused Qin Wuk. Now you realize fear. Too late. Qin Wuk's deep voice eased the awkward atmosphere in the private room. "No need, there are too many people here. You're right, I won't make you stay. Goodbye, and let's never meet again." Tang Wuyan was just about to let out a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, Qin Wuk continued speaking. How about young Master Tang joins me in my private room? Tang Wuyan froze. Was he actually planning to shut the door and give me a beating? If I call the police now, could the officers make it here before I get beaten up? Tang Wuyan mustered his courage and declined. I have a whole group of people to take care of here. It's not very convenient right now. Maybe next time, next time. Qin Wuck's deep gaze swept over the crowd. He let his eyes slowly roam over everyone present. Do you really need young Master Tang to entertain you all? Everyone shuddered slightly. They immediately understood what Qin Wuck meant. One after another, they all waved their hands in refusal. No need, no need. Young Master Tang, please feel free to go with President Qin. Don't worry about us. Well then, young Master Tang, you may leave. Tang Wuyan and Qin Wuck exchanged a glance. It was clear they both saw the undeniable determination in Qin Wuck's eyes. Tang Wuyan stiffly turned his head to look at Han Chocho. The meaning in his eyes was unmistakably clear. Han Chocho took a deep breath. No way, I can't just stand by and let my best friend fend for herself. No matter how angry Qin Wuck might be, he would probably still consider the Tang and Han families backing them. Han Chocho stood up. President Qin, speechless and drunk. Perhaps I should go along to keep an eye on him. Without waiting for Qin Wuck to respond, Qin Yulin promptly stepped in with remarkable tact and said, yet insisted on chatting with Tang Wuyan. Why are you meddling unnecessarily? I noticed Tang Wuyan spoke quite fluently. Wide awake, aren't you? Qin Wuck raised an eyebrow. Why, is young Master Tang not giving me the honor? A chill ran down everyone's spine simultaneously. Everyone could hear it. The displeasure and threat in Qin Wuck's words were unmistakable. How could that be? Tang Wuyan only felt his feet, moving against his own will, step by step, heading toward Qin Wuck. Someone help me. Please save me. I'm willing to share half of my allowance with him. Chocho, please help me. Han Chocho seemed to hear Tang Wuyan's silent cry for help, but he was held back by Qin Yulin. Wuqian knows his limits. Don't go provoking him. Qin Yulin reached out to block Han Chocho. Qin Yulin, let me tell you something. We broke up a long time ago. Keep your hands to yourself. I'll report you for harassment. Do you believe me or not? Han Chocho struggled hard, but unfortunately, in terms of size and strength, he really couldn't match Qin Yulin. Young Master Han, what a temper you have. Breaking up seems to have made your temper worse. Tang Wuyan closed his eyes briefly. All right, this time next year, please burn some more spirit money for me. In the private room, there were only Qin Wuck and Tang Wuyan present. Qin Wuck was reclining casually on the sofa. His strikingly handsome face carried an intimidating sense of authority. Coupled with the natural aura of dominance emanating from deep within him, it was almost indistinguishable from sitting on a throne. Tang Wuyan sat on a cushioned stool across the table. From his lower seating position, he appeared to be at a disadvantage compared to Qin Wuck. This significantly diminished his presence and left him feeling even more uneasy and restless inside. Pale fingers unconsciously twisted together. How awkward this is. I know I'm good looking, but there's no need to keep staring at me. Say something. Are you expecting me to speak first? Just say anything. Qin Wuck's long, well-defined fingers rested on his knee, tapping lightly one beat after another, while listening to Tang Wuyan's inner monologue. Awkward? He didn't feel that way at all. After hearing Tang Wuyan's endless self-praise and narcissism, Qin Wuck couldn't help but take a closer look at the person in front of him. Clearly uneasy and fidgety, yet constantly pretending to be calm and composed, the young master of the Tang family. Truly someone raised in luxury and spoiled since childhood. With rosy lips and pearly white teeth, a face as radiant as blossoms in spring, undeniably a notorious playboy, yet carrying an aura of elegance and purity that somehow doesn't evoke annoyance in others. The most captivating feature is undoubtedly these eyes. A slight hint of intoxication makes these already lustrous and shimmering eyes take on a touch of enchanting allure, like peach blossoms moistened by the spring rain of March, ethereally elegant and otherworldly, yet carrying a bewitching charm that stirs the soul. To be fair, this Tang Wuyan indeed possesses strikingly good looks. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to admit as much. However, appearance has never stirred even the slightest ripple in Qin Wuck's heart. If Qin Wuck truly valued looks, with his status and position, what kind of beauty could he not have? No matter how stunning the looks may be, they couldn't compare to young Master Tang's intriguing heart. Didn't President Qin say he would have a drink? In the end, it was Tang Tang Wuyen who broke the silence. If you want a drink, then drink. I don't need it for now. Qin Wuk finished speaking. He got up and stood. If you don't drink, then why should I? If you're so capable, let me go back. I drank with them until dawn. Why are you standing up? You're not seriously gonna hit me, are you? Qin Wuk felt a strange sense of helplessness. What could this little brain be thinking about? Why does he always seem to think someone might hit him, regardless of how serious his mistakes might be? Just because he belongs to the Tang family. Qin Wuk would never lay a hand on him. The Qin and Tang families have always maintained a decent relationship. They even collaborate in business. Even if Tang Wuyen truly angered Qin Wuk, the most Qin Wuk would do would be to force the Tang family to handle it themselves. What is Tang Wuyen pacing back and forth for? What is happening here? Could it be that he is searching for a suitable tool? Qin Wuk walked to the farthest corner of the private room. Then he gradually closed the distance between himself and Tang Wuyen. Eventually, he came to a conclusion. Only when he was within about 5 meters of Tang Wuyen could he hear the thoughts in Tang Wuyen's mind. It was truly astonishing that such an unbelievable thing could exist in this world. Qin Wuk stepped closer to Tang Wuyen, looking down at him with an imposing gaze. Tang Wuyen, why can I only hear this person's inner thoughts? Is there something different about him? Tang Wuyen's heart suddenly tightened with unease. Here it comes, here it comes. Is he really about to hit me? I have just one request. Can you not hit my face, please? Why hasn't he made a move yet? If you're gonna kill or punish me, just get it over with, will you? Tang Wuyen sneaked a quick glance upward. You have to admit, Qin Wuk is really handsome. Even at such an odd angle, he still looks flawless. Qin Wuk found it both amusing and a bit frustrating. Hopefully, she doesn't actually fall for him. Learning that Tang Wuyen was using him as a shield, this person does seem quite interesting. That's why Qin Wuk would even bother teasing her. If Tang Wuyen truly had feelings for him, then Qin Wuk definitely wouldn't want to deal with that trouble. Naturally, she would keep her distance from Tang Wuyen. Qin Wuk returned to her seat. She fixed her gaze on Tang Wuyen. She asked, I heard you like me. You want to marry me? Qin Wuk found the idea increasingly amusing. This young master from the Tang family actually claimed he wanted to marry her. He even had the audacity to say such a thing. What an epic embarrassment on the spot. Look, I don't like you. Long live the single life. How should I respond to this? Why not take this opportunity to clear things up? It's actually all just rumors spread by others. Don't believe or spread unverified information. Then why don't you clarify the situation? After realizing that Tang Wuyen didn't like him, Qin Wuk stopped holding back. He made up his mind to teach Tang Wuyen a lesson. You're damaging my reputation like this. What exactly are you trying to achieve? Ruining your reputation. Whose reputation has really been ruined? I Tang Wuyen like you. Did I embarrass you too? You have no idea how many people are lining up, waiting for me to like them. Qin Wuk's tone was cold and harsh. Testing, or perhaps, are you trying to use this rumor to achieve some kind of goal? Tang Wuyen was stunned. How can Qin Wuk be so intelligent? Tang Wuyen racked his brain trying to find the right words. I have clarified. Qin Wuk lifted his eyelids slightly. He calmly said the truth. Have you clarified? I can find out with a simple check. Tang Wuyen was startled in his heart. In fact, not only did he fail to clarify, but he also let the rumors spread unchecked. This feels like cutting off all my escape routes. Tang Wuyen thought to himself. No matter what, he couldn't admit it, that it was a lie he told impulsively back then. If Qin Wuk finds out that he used him as a scapegoat, probably wouldn't just end with a beating. If the news reached his grandmother's ears, she would definitely be furious. She might even set him up with 3 blind dates a day. That's how it is. I used to like it a lot, but feelings can fade over time. Tang Wuyen cautiously responded. Jin Wuqian pretended to be displeased. So your feelings are that shallow. At first, you made such a big deal about it, so grand and passionate. But it only lasted a year before it faded. What, isn't a year long enough for you? Are you trying to force me into a corner? The instinct to survive made Tang Wuyen slap his thigh, deciding to stick to one path until the end. Now that I see you, I can finally return again. Jin Wuk's expression softened. A faint, almost imperceptible smile lingered at the corner of his lips. So, do you still like me now? Tang Wuyen forced a smile as he replied. Like, not a chance. Qin Wuk responded faintly, but that faint response sounded more like a cold snort. But rest assured, Mr. Qin, I absolutely won't disturb you. I'm just a quiet and well-behaved admirer. Simply a silent and respectful admirer. Tang Wuyan repeatedly assured. Qin Wuk remained non-committal, thinking to himself, I really don't see how you're quiet or well-behaved in any way. Now that everything has been made clear, can I leave now? I'm planning to party until dawn. Let's go, Qin Wuk. Get up, where are we heading? Tang Wuyan looked at Qin Wuk with a face full of confusion. Good thing I didn't drink. I'll take you back to the Tang family. No need to trouble yourself, right? My night has just begun. I'm not going back. There's no trouble, let's go. However, Qin Wuk interrupted directly. Are you saying you like me? I'll take you home. Shouldn't you be really happy about it? Still thinking about staying up all night? No way. Tang Wuyan nodded stiffly, feeling delighted outside the private room. Qin Yulin and Han Chochio stood in the hallway, completely packed. Han Chochio noticed that Tang Wuyan appeared unharmed, finally felt relieved. Wuk, are you really leaving? Qin Yulin asked curiously. I'll take him back. Qin Wuk replied simply, you're taking Tang Wuyan back. Qin Yulin looked completely surprised. It wasn't just Qin Yulin. Even Han Chochio and the others widened their eyes in shock. Wuyan, if you were forced into this, just a quick blink. Han Kushiu said. Tang Wuyan's eyes blinked rapidly. They were almost twitching. It's late, so I'll head back now. You all enjoy yourselves. I was just forced into this. It's not even 11 o'clock yet. It's not late at all. I still want to have fun. Qin Wuchie refused. You don't want to leave, do you? Qin Wuk took the lead and walked out. Wuyan Han Kushiu tried to break free from Qin Yulin, restraining both of his hands. Can someone call the police for me right now? Someone is harassing me. Qin Yulin refused to let go. Chochio, if you keep saying things like that, don't blame me for making this accusation stick. Tang Wuyan looked pitiful, hesitating to take a step forward. Qin Wuk, who had just taken a step, turned his head. He noticed Tang Wuyan was still standing there, dumbfounded. He gave Han Chochio a playful wink, then reached out his hand and grabbed the hood of Tang Wuyan's hoodie to pull him along, causing Tang Wuyan to stumble back a couple of steps. Only then did Tang Wuyan, with a mix of frustration and resignation, turn around to follow Qin Wuk. Would you say young Master Tang is living the dream right now? It seems like winning over President Qin is just around the corner. Yeah, absolutely. Young Master Tang has been single for quite a while. He must still have lingering feelings for President Qin. Han Chochio let out a dry laugh. You really are something. Such a spectacular disaster. Isn't this the latest model of the R2? Qin Wuk actually managed to get one. I'm so envious and jealous. It's my favorite silver and black color. Sophisticated and elegant, with a touch of luxury. Qin Wuk does have some taste. When Tang Wuyan saw Qin Wuk's ride, his eyes lit up like flashlights. This car is one of only 10 in the world. It's practically the most exclusive of limited editions, only available to the highest-ranking members. It's not something money alone can buy. Hearing Tang Wuyan's inner thoughts, Qin Wuk was slightly speechless. Isn't it just a car? Why so worked up? Xian Wuk hasn't bought a car since returning to the country. He doesn't like the cars at home. It just so happens R2 released a new model Xian Wuk. Seeing its great performance, he decided to buy it. He didn't care whether it was a limited edition or not. Tang Wuyan was overwhelmed with excitement inside, but he wouldn't allow himself to show such an inexperienced and naive expression on his face. Instead, he maintained a perfectly measured look of admiration, took a seat in the passenger seat, fastened the seatbelt securely, casually remarked that the car was decent. It's not just decent, it's absolutely perfect. I love him so much. Why can't I have him? Qin Wuk silently pressed down on the gas pedal. Listen to the sound of this engine. The performance is simply incredible. I want to drive this car to race in the mountains of Akina. Tang Wuyan's face remained calm and composed. The car is still pretty decent. Not just decent, it's absolutely amazing. Qin Wuk chuckled silently. Alright, since Tang Wuyan likes it so much, then let's take him for a couple of laps to enjoy it. This doesn't seem to be the road leading to the Tang family. Could he be planning to take me somewhere else? What a completely desolate place. Just leave it behind. Does Qin Wuk have some kind of paranoia, bringing Tang Wuyan to notice? Qin Wuk only felt reassured after strolling around the ring road. It was only then that he felt at ease. I understand now. He just wanted to show off. Damn, he really pulled pulled it off. Qin Wuk quickly put it away, still wanting to take Tang Wuyen for another stroll. The thought crossed my mind without hesitation, and I headed directly in the direction of the Tang family. It was getting late. I won't invite Mr. Qin inside this time. Tang Wuyen unbuckled the seatbelt. With a considerate expression, he said, "It's actually still quite early, but I simply don't want you to go inside. If Grandma and the others see you, they'll definitely overthink it. Hurry up and leave." Qin Wuk said deliberately, "I acted as your driver, and this is how you treat me. Did I ask you for a favor? Did I request you to drive me home? I originally planned to party all night," Tang Wuyen said, though clearly not meaning it. "Thanks a lot, President Qin. You should head back and get some rest." Qin Wuk hadn't planned on going in anyway. The Tang family decided not to make things difficult for Tang Wuyen. He nodded slightly, signaling Tang Wuyen to get out of the car. Tang Wuyen quickly stepped out of the car. Before closing the car door, he politely said, "Take care, Mr. Qin. Hurry up and leave now." A slight smile appeared on Qin Wuk's lips. He moved his hand swiftly. With a quick turn of the steering wheel, he made a U-turn and drove away. "This car is absolutely amazing." As the distance grew further, Tang Wuyen's unfinished thoughts faded away from Qin Wuk's ears. Tang Wuyen reluctantly withdrew his gaze, remarking that this car was truly outstanding. The scene outside the door was all caught by Grandma Tang, who stood on the balcony. Who was it that brought Wuyen back to make him so reluctant to part? Grandma Tang took out her phone and dialed a series of numbers. Mr. Liu went to check the surveillance footage to see who brought Wuyen back. Grandma Tang hung up the phone and discovered on her alternate messaging app that she had received hundreds of unread messages. Grandma Tang opened the gossip group for elite families in the capital and was so shocked that her jaw dropped. She quickly called Mr. Liu again. "Mr. Liu, no need to check anymore. I already know what happened." Initially, it was assumed that her dear grandson might end up living a lonely life, but to everyone's surprise, persistence finally paid off, and a new opportunity emerged unexpectedly. Although winning over the head of the Qin family is admittedly quite challenging, there's no need to worry, my dear. Grandma is here to assist you. Madame Tang clutched her phone tightly and made up her mind. "Qin Corporation, you mentioned that Mrs. Tang wants to meet me." Qin Wuk looked up from behind his desk and gazed toward the bridge. "Yes, President Qin. Mrs. Tang is already waiting downstairs. Will you meet her or not?" Qin Wuk couldn't quite figure out Mrs. Tang's intentions for a moment, but his instincts told him it likely had something to do with Tang Wuyen. He headed to the reception room. "President Qin, I came here abruptly. I hope I'm not disturbing you, Mr. Qin." Madame Tang smiled kindly and warmly. Her gaze at Qin Wuk was filled with satisfaction. "You're being too polite, Madame Tang. Just call me by my name." In front of Madame Tang, Qin Wuk still maintained the respect a junior should have. "Then I won't stand on ceremony. Wuk, my dear. Speaking of which, your grandmother and I were the best of friends. It's a pity that she passed away so early. Otherwise, our two families might have been closer." Wu Qian responded with a faint acknowledgement. He could tell Madame Tang's preferences, but before understanding the other party's intentions, Qin Wu Qian never tends to give too much of a response. This was a habit Qin Wu Qian developed in the business world, keeping the initiative firmly in his own hands. Madame Tang noticed the deliberate distance Qin Wu Qian maintained, and thought to herself that this young man is indeed very cautious, truly flawless in every detail. No wonder they've been making waves in the business world these past few years. "Wuk, you haven't been back in the country for long. I wonder if you've had the chance to meet our Wuyen." Madame Tang intentionally probed Qin Wuk. It seems their hidden agenda is indeed about Tang Wuyen. "Is this on Tang Wuyen's behalf?" Qin Wuk replied honestly. "We briefly met before at Chairman Han's birthday banquet. Last night, we happened to run into each other at the club." Madame Tang carefully studied Qin Wuk's reaction. The eyes never lie. It seems that Qin Wuk doesn't have any feelings for the obedient grandson just yet. Madame Tang chuckled softly twice. "Our Wuyen, you see, has been spoiled since childhood. I wonder if he has caused you any trouble." "Not trouble exactly. If anything, he has brought a bit of amusement." "Well, that's good to hear, that's good to hear. If there's anything that you find unacceptable, feel free to help us discipline properly." Qin Wuk noticed there was deeper meaning in Madame Tang's words. "It doesn't seem fair. Madame Tang, if you have something to say, Please don't hesitate. Here's the thing. Our Wu Yen is already 25. He has never really held a proper job. It's not that our Tang family can't offer him a position. It's just that we've always been too indulgent with Wu Yen. Easily soft-hearted. Let him work at someone else's company. But I fear others might also accommodate him excessively. I've thought it over. Throughout the entire capital, only you can possibly keep him in check. Qin Wuk was somewhat surprised. Old Madame Tang's intention is that she wants young Master Tang to work under me. Correct? What's your opinion on this? Qin Wuk carefully assessed. Madame Tang's words were absolutely right. Throughout the entire imperial capital, Tang Wuyen, this stubborn stone, it seems he is the only one who can refine and challenge him. What is even more crucial is, at this moment, the Qin family's overseas market has been nearly fully developed. Overall, the business is thriving and flourishing. Qin Wuk no longer has the intense drive he had years ago, could be considered as having a bit more leisure. If I were to keep Tang Wuyen right under my nose, thinking about it, it should be quite amusing. Since Madame Tang spoke up, this small matter is indeed something I should agree to. However, if young Master Tang were to suffer any grievances while staying here with me, I'm just worried that Madame Tang might feel distressed. Madame Tang saw how readily Qin Wuwei agreed. She secretly thought there might be hope. Lu waved his hand dismissively. He said that Wuyen had been spoiled by him. A little grievance wouldn't hurt, so it's settled then. I wonder what position will be arranged for Wuyen. While speaking, Madame Tang even took out a resume from her bag and handed it to Qin Wuk. Qin Wuk glanced at it briefly. It appeared to be a resume, but all that was written were the name and date of birth. The most basic information like graduation school was included. Even details like blood type and zodiac sign were filled in. If none of that was written, the entire sheet might have looked too empty. Qin Wuk placed the resume down, saying, I just returned to the country and happened to need an assistant. I wonder if Madame Tang would be satisfied with this position. Satisfied, very satisfied. Then I'll make sure he reports on time tomorrow. I'll be counting on you from now on. The old Madame Tang squinted with joy. She was utterly pleased. An assistant is great. This way, there will be more opportunities to interact. Qin Wuk found it amusing in his heart. If young Master Tang knew about this, he'd probably be furious. Tang Wuyen was indeed on the verge of exploding with anger. Grandma, I'm not going. Tang Wuyen stood with her hands on her hips. Her little mouth pouted. She was determined not to go. Grandma is just trying to create an opportunity for you. Wuyen, don't be shy. Grandma believes you can do it. Tang Wuyen never expected Madame Tang to pull such a move. She pleaded earnestly, Grandma, but I don't want to work anymore. I have never had a job before. It's really exhausting. I won't go, Tang Wuyen thought to himself. I definitely don't want to see Qin Wuk either. For the sake of your lifelong happiness, you have to make some sacrifices, don't you? Madame Tang noticed Tang Wuyen's resistance. She decided to give him a little push. If you don't go, Grandma will take it as you giving up on Qin Wuk. Looks like Grandma is about to start arranging blind dates for you. 3 sessions a day, morning, noon, and night. What do you think? Tang Wuyen quickly gave in. Grandma, no need to say more. I'm going. Madame Tang instructed me to report at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be late on your first day at work. Wow, I honestly didn't expect this. Grandma Tang would go to such lengths to help out. It's not just you. Even I, her own grandson, didn't see this coming. Tang Wuyen lay flat on his soft bed, talking on the phone with Han Qiuqiu. Weren't you too scared to even meet Qin Wuk before? So why do you dare to be his assistant now? After interacting with him for a bit, I feel like even though he seems intimidating, he doesn't really seem to have any bad intentions towards me. If he really wanted to hold something against me, he would have done it long ago. What I'm worried about now is, with someone as good-looking as me, if Qin Wuk keeps seeing me all the time, wouldn't he start to fall for me? Tang Wuyen shamelessly spoke without realizing it. Over the phone, Han Qiuqiu's lips twitched. You might really be overthinking it. It's perfectly normal for me to be worried about this, right? Don't worry about it even a little bit. I heard Qin Yulin mention this before. Qin Wuk is someone who has taken the idea of being detached from desires to an extreme. At his age, he hasn't even held hands with a girl or a boy. In this regard, you two are quite similar. Not bad, not bad. We pride ourselves on being noble singles. Tang Wuyen finally felt at ease. You have work early tomorrow, don't you? Why waste time overthinking? Why aren't you going to sleep yet? Me showing up is already doing him a favor. And now you expect me to wake up early. Keep dreaming, mister. Who are you looking for? The receptionist glanced at the impeccably dressed man standing before her. A man whose appearance was nothing short of extraordinary. Her cheeks involuntarily flushed with a slight blush. Tang Wuyen responded with a kind and gentle smile. I come to check in. The receptionist didn't react immediately. Such a handsome young man. Just by looking at his outfit, you could tell he's from a wealthy family. Turns out he's the new colleague. May I ask which department you're in? I'm not sure which department it is either. I heard he's the assistant to your President Qin. Tang Wuyen answered honestly. Please hold on, I'll contact them right away. The president's office. It wasn't long before Song Chao came down from the bridge. Young Master Tang, I am Mr. Qin's assistant. Please follow me, Mr. Tang. Tang Wuyen followed Song Chao into the elevator. They arrived outside the CEO's office. Mr. Qin is currently in a meeting. I'll take you to meet Mr. Qin later. Where is my office? Tang Wuyen glanced around and asked. My apologies. Mr. Tang's assistant doesn't have an office. Feng Chao pointed to the desk outside the CEO's office. This is your workstation. Your employee badge and the work manual are on the desk. All right, Tang sighed quietly to himself. He sat down and casually flipped through the work manual. So what tasks do I need to handle? Answering phone calls and printing documents, getting Mr. Qin's signature, organizing files and materials, delivering coffee and the like to Mr. Qin. Tang Wuyen nodded silently. Understood, basically just assisting him and running errands. Mr. Qin's preferences and restrictions are all detailed in the work manual. You can take a closer look at it. Alright, Tang Wuyen thought to himself. Isn't it just an assistant's job? Could it be something I can't handle? No matter what, this was also Tang Wuyen's very first job. Tang Wuyen was still brimming with confidence, eager and ready to give it a try. It really was too early to start. None of them had responded yet. They were definitely still sound asleep. Qin Wuk hadn't spotted Tang Wuyen yet, but he had already heard his thoughts. It's still early, but it's almost 11 a.m. now. Qin Wuk walked in. Sure enough, Tang Wuyen was sprawled on the desk, playing on his phone. What are you doing? Qin Wuk suddenly spoke without warning, startling Tang Wuyen so much that he jolted. He nearly dropped his phone. Isn't it against the rules to use your phone during work hours? Does this mean I've been caught red-handed? I was waiting for you, President Qin, Tang Wuyen said nervously. His eyes curved into awkward smiles. A radiant and exceptionally bright smile spread across her face. Qin Wuk's pupils involuntarily contracted. Clearing his throat, he said, Don't you know you're supposed to report at 9 o'clock? I had no idea. Grandma only told me to come over this morning. Tang Wuyen blinked innocently and answered with a look of pure innocence. 9 o'clock? Ah, sure. Who even gets up that early? But Qin Wuk wasn't buying Tang Wuyen's act. Calmly stated, being late will result in a pay deduction. If there's a pay deduction, so be it. It's not like I rely on that little bit of salary to live. How much do I even earn in a month? Not even close to $1 million or $2 million. There's absolutely no way someone like me, the distinguished young Master Tang, would agree to be an assistant. You should take this up with the HR department. Qin Wuk thought to himself, someone like you probably would need to throw in 100 or 80,000 as an incentive. Nobody else wants you. Qin Wuk stepped toward his office, leaving behind a single sentence. Go make me a cup of coffee. Understood, Mr. Qin. I know how to solve this problem. I've already gathered from the manual what your preferences are. Qin Wuk kept walking without stopping. At least this young Master Tang has some value. Otherwise, he might feel like the company is wasting money on his salary. It's overly sweet and nothing more. Filtered thoroughly. Qin Wuk furrowed his brows and set the coffee down. Should be fine, I guess. I made it exactly following the instructions in the work manual. I've already tasted it myself, except for not being sweet enough. It's actually pretty good. Under Tang Wuyen's eager gaze, Qin Wuk reluctantly nodded. It's all right. This Qin Wuk is really something. If it tastes good, just say it tastes good. Why say it's just all right? Doesn't he know people need encouragement? Qin Wuk couldn't help but press his temples. He regretted offering encouragement on a whim. Qin Wuk did a great job. Don't do it again next time. It's fine now, you can head out. After completing the first task of his life, Tang Wuyen left with a cheerful heart. Qin Wuk immediately made a call to Song Qiao. From now on, don't let Tang Wuyan make my coffee. Why hasn't anyone responded to me yet? Cho Cho is probably still asleep. Feeling a bit bored. Feeling kind of sleepy. What time can we eat? I'm already feeling hungry. Tomorrow, I absolutely need to grab some snacks. If I secretly play a game right now, no one would ever find out. Qin Wuk, who was working, was too distracted to focus due to the noise. He threw the pen aside and dialed Tong Qiao's number again. Tang Wuyan was daydreaming, saw Tong Qiao walking into the president's office with a group of people, and not long after, they all came out again. Feeling puzzled, I wondered internally about Tong Qiao. What could so many people be going in there to do? Tong Qiao explained that President Qin had us rearrange the tables. All of a sudden, rearrange the tables for what purpose? It's truly odd. I have no idea either. Oh, by the way, President Qin asked me to help you get familiar with the company. President Qin also asked me to pass along a message to you. No snacks are allowed. You are not allowed to play games. Once you finish visiting all the departments, you can have your meal. Tang Wuyan was astonished. Could it be that Qin Wuk can read my mind like an open book? But you are not allowed to do it. I did it secretly. You have no idea about it. Heh. Tang Wuyan's words didn't reach Qin Wuk's ears. Behind the office desk, back and forth, Qin Wuk finally experienced the rare peace and quiet he craved. He enjoyed the tranquility that soothed his weary mind. Everyone noticed that the assistant to the president, Tong Qiao, personally accompanied the newcomer to get familiar with each department. It was surprising to see Tong Qiao taking it upon herself to introduce a newcomer to various departments. And when they saw Tang Wuyan's remarkable appearance, his extraordinary demeanor caught everyone's attention. They silently concluded in their heart that Tang Wuyan was probably someone they should be cautious not to offend. Everyone treated him with exceptional friendliness. By the time they arrived at the HR department, Tang Wuyan specifically inquired about his salary. It was completely different from what he had imagined. Tang Wuyan sympathetically patted Song Qiao on the shoulder. Who would have thought you'd work so hard for Mr. Qin, and yet earn such a meager amount? Song Qiao looked puzzled. Young Master Tang, my salary is not the same as yours. Tang Wuyan felt increasingly indignant on behalf of Tong Qiao. He thought to himself, could it be that Qin Wuk is only considering the Tang family's reputation, and not giving Tong Qiao the respect he deserves? They even paid me more than I expected. What is going on? Could it be that Qin Wuk treats people differently? How about joining my family's company instead? I promise you'll be well taken care of. Hong Qiao couldn't figure out Tang Wuyan's thought process. Quietly pulled up the text message about the salary received a few days ago. Opened it to take a look. Thank you, young Master Tang. But there's no need for that. Mr. Qin has been fair with me when it comes to compensation. Tang Wuyan glanced over, visibly shocked. Aren't we doing the same kind of work? Why is your salary so much higher than mine? From Qiao's perspective, we're not the same. Qiao explained the situation tactfully. Our years of experience and educational backgrounds are different, so there are bound to be some discrepancies. Tang Wuyan pursed his lips and accepted this explanation. I reassured myself, thinking that I wasn't counting on that small amount of money from him anyway. From the bridge, I glanced at my watch. It's about time now. Let's go help Mr. Qin pick up his meal first. After that, we can head to the cafeteria for lunch. The chef will prepare a separate meal for Qin Wuk. After collecting the meal from the bridge, Tang Wuyan was told, young Master Tang, I'll deliver the meal to Mr. Qin. Please go ahead and eat first. Tang Wuyan gave a slight nod. Turning his head, he unexpectedly came face to face with Qin Yulin. Qin Yulin looked surprised and asked why he was there. Could it be that the person others mentioned as the new assistant to the president is actually you? Isn't it surprising? Does it catch you off guard? Tang Wuyan casually brushed it off. While waiting in line to get food, Qin Yulin followed behind Tang Wuyan. I truly admire you. I never expected you to be so devoted, and to have such perseverance, all just to pursue Wuk. You even lowered yourself to become his assistant. Tang Wuyan couldn't be bothered to explain. That's definitely not the case. Qin Yulin sat down with Tang Wuyan at a dining table. With a gossipy look, he asked, Wuk actually agreed to let you come? That's truly surprising. Tang Wuyan was genuinely starving, but he still carried himself with an air of nobility in his every move. He took a bite of rice slowly before responding. He only agreed out of respect for my grandmother. Qin Yulin suddenly understood everything. That explains it. Hiring someone as frivolous as you to be his assistant isn't something Qin Wuk would usually do. Tang Wuyan had long grown used to this nickname. He casually asked, "Do you think someone as clever and sharp as me, charming and dashing, always lingering around Qin Wuk, could he possibly develop feelings for me over time?" Qin Yulin rolled his eyes. "This might be disappointing for you. Wuk doesn't care about appearances. And with your personality, I'm afraid it won't be long before he lets you go." Having received an answer from the Qin family, Tang Wuyan could finally set his mind at ease. Qin Yulin was eating while pretending to ask casually, "What's been going on with you lately, Qiuqiu? You haven't started a new relationship, have you?" Tang Wuyan lifted his eyelids and glanced at Qin Yulin. "You two already broke up. Why are you asking so many questions? Isn't it just a casual conversation? Can't people stay friends after breaking up? You've got so many ex-boyfriends. What's the big deal? Are you coming over out of concern?" Unless Tang Wuyan narrowed his eyes. "You still have lingering feelings for Qiuqiu. So what if I still have lingering feelings?" Qin Yulin admitted it openly. He was the one who suggested breaking up first. "Am I not allowed to have lingering feelings? You still dare to claim that you, a playboy, leave. Your affections are just too widespread." "Tang Wuyan, I need to make this clear." Qin Yulin set down his chopsticks. With a serious expression, he said, "Although I have a colorful romantic history, I have always been devoted in each relationship. Every time I see you chatting with those young handsome guys, you seem to enjoy it quite a bit." Tang Wuyan firmly stood on Han Qiuqiu's side. "Isn't this just socializing? They're the ones who come to chat with me. Am I supposed to just ignore them?" Qin Yulin argued firmly based on reason. Qiuqiu interacts with so many male models on a regular basis. Some of them are even her ex-boyfriends. I have never made any demands of her, nor have I ever blamed her. Tang Wuyan had no desire to argue further with Qin Yulin. Han Qiuqiu's personal matters. He waved his hand and said that since they had broken up, there's no need to dwell on it. Let's part ways and move on. Can't let go. This is my first time. It's been 3 months since the breakup. I still haven't gotten over it. Tang Wuyan, if you could say something nice about me in front of Qiuqiu, I'll help you pursue Wuk. How about that? No, that's not necessary. Tang Wuyan hurriedly declined. That would drag both of them into this. This kind of deal where you are guaranteed to lose and not make any profit is not worth doing. Tang Wuyan stared at the bridge. He pulled out the bed frame from under the desk for him, with a completely baffled expression. "This bed is so narrow. How can you sleep with half of it still under the desk? Wouldn't it be very easy to hit your legs?" "Young Master Tang, everyone sleeps this way." The bridge had no idea how to explain this to the pampered young master. "Actually, this kind of treatment is already quite good. Among office workers, this is already considered excellent." Tang Wuyan could only accept it reluctantly. "All right, go ahead and get some sleep." As expected, Tang Wuyan had no other choice. It was difficult to fall asleep on this narrow bed. Tang Wuyan wasn't a very still sleeper. He had a habit of tossing and turning. He had just laid down for less than 2 minutes. His calf had already bumped into something a few times, and every time he rolled to the edge of the bed, that weightless sensation of nearly falling off always startled him awake. It never failed to jolt him out of his sleep. In the end, Tang Wuyan had no choice but to get up, but he was still unbearably drowsy. Eventually, he simply dozed off at the desk. Qin Wuk, on the other hand, was always full of energy. He never had the habit of taking afternoon naps, and after finishing lunch, after leaning on the couch and dozing off for a moment, he got up. The couch was located quite close to the door, yet he hadn't heard Tang Wuyan's inner thoughts. Could it be that he had fallen asleep? Qin Wuk quietly pushed open the office door. Sure enough, he saw Tang Wuyan sleeping on the desk. "Isn't there a bed available for sleeping?" Sleeping on the desk must be really uncomfortable. Qin Wuk glanced at the unfolded bed frame and immediately figured it out. Qin Wuk seemed to be struggling to get used to sleeping, so delicate and sensitive. Being delicate won't help. "I'm not going to give you any special treatment this afternoon." Qin Wuk glanced at Tang Wuyan. A red mark had formed on one side of his face from being pressed against. His eyebrows twitched slightly. Wasn't it just a nap lying face down? Why does he look like he's been beaten up? It's already been over an hour since nap time ended. hasn't it? Why is it still so obvious? Tang Wuyan also noticed Qin Wuck's gaze, casually said, "It's nothing. It's from sleeping on it. My skin is delicate. If it gets bumped or scratched, the marks are just harder to fade." Qin Wuck was left speechless. Has the Tang family spoiled Tang Wuyan a bit too much? Tang Wuyan looks like this heading back. Will the Tang family think I'm mistreating him? Qin Wuck rubbed his temples. Did he hire an assistant? Why does it feel like he brought in someone to worship? Qin Wuck started regretting his impulsive decision, leaving behind this little troublemaker. Why does Qin Wuck look so troubled? Does he think my face isn't handsome anymore? That I've embarrassed him? It's not like I want to sleep slumped over the desk. Waking up leaves my back sore and aching, but I really can't sleep on that bed. My legs are already bruised in several places. Qin Wuck silently sighed in his heart. What else can be done? For now, just go along with it. In the future, take your naps on the couch in my office. This is already the biggest compromise Qin Wuck has made. Tang Wuyan glanced back at the spacious couch, nodded with reluctant approval. Nodding, she thanked Mr. Qin. Don't be late tomorrow. Tang Wuyan responded perfunctorily. It's impossible not to be late. At worst, they'll just dock my salary. Qin Wuck spoke again. Didn't you say you liked me? Don't you want to see me earlier every day? I've sacrificed too much for this lie. If you're late again, don't bother coming. Qin Wuck had completely gained the upper hand over Tang Wuyan. If I don't go, wouldn't Grandma force me to go on blind dates every single day? Got it. Tang Wuyan reluctantly agreed with her head lowered. 000. In the soft and cozy bed, a fair and slender arm reached out to turn off the endlessly ringing alarm clock. Not long after that, the alarm clock started ringing again. The person lying in bed finally got up with a head full of messy hair. What did I do to deserve this? To endure the misery of waking up early? Grandma Tang, who was full of energy, had already woken up early. She was stretching her body in the living room, while keeping an ear out for any sounds from the stairs, until a sleepy-eyed Tang Wuyan appeared at the top of the staircase. Grandma Tang finally showed a kind and gentle smile. I was just thinking to myself, if you don't come down soon, I'll have to go upstairs and wake you up. I'm already a grown-up. I don't need anyone to wake me up anymore. Tang Wuyan muttered listlessly as he walked downstairs. Don't think I don't know you were late yesterday. From now on, I'll have to keep an eye on you. Make sure not to leave a bad impression on Qin Wuqian. Tang Wuyan felt no fear in his heart. Who cares what impression he leaves? Tang Wuyan walked straight out of the house. Grandma, I'm heading to work now. Aren't you going to eat breakfast? No, if I eat, I'll be late. Tang Wuyan waved his hand dismissively. I knew you'd do this. Grandma seemed to have expected it all along. She handed Tang Wuyan the prepared bag from the table. Grandma had already prepared it for you. Eat it in the car. The driver has been waiting outside for a while. You are absolutely not allowed to drive. I'm worried you're not fully awake yet. Mistaking the brake for the gas pedal. Closing the door on Grandma. You are so kind. Tang Wuyan opened it and took a look. She wondered why there were 2 portions. Grandma also prepared a gift for Qin Wuck. When the time comes, just say you were the one who got it for him. How about that? Isn't Grandma thoughtful? Tang Wuyan's lips twitched slightly. He probably already ate, didn't he? No need to be overly attentive, right? Silly child. How could this be called being overly attentive? This is what you call an expression of love. Grandma earnestly tried to persuade, reminiscing about the old days. Your grandpa won my heart in just the same way. It doesn't matter whether Qin Wuck has eaten or not. You need to make sure your intentions are delivered. All right. Tang Wuyan replied half-heartedly. After all, he's not the one delivering it. Grandma doesn't know either. Grandma Tang saw through Tang Wuyan's thoughts. Grandma is teaching you how to win someone over. Don't you get all shy about it. Grandma knows you're just too proud to admit it. You absolutely must deliver this breakfast to Qin Wuck. Next time, Grandma will personally ask Qin Wuck. All right. Tang Wuyan, feeling helpless, had no choice but to agree. Tang Wuyan did arrive quite early today. She had just gotten out of the car when she ran into Qin Wuck at the main entrance. Young master, don't forget your breakfast. The driver deliberately got out of the car and handed Tang Wuyan the breakfast he had left behind in the back seat, placing it directly into his hands. Tang Wuyan forced a smile and thanked him. Alright, now even the excuse of forgetting the breakfast was gone, making it impossible to use that as a reason anymore. Chin-wook turned to glance at the breakfast in Tang Wuyen's hand. Was Tang Wuyen unwilling to eat breakfast? Tang Wuyen glared at Chin-wook with annoyance. For a moment, she didn't know how to start or hand him the breakfast. In the end, it was Chin-wook who broke the silence first. Tang Wuyen, haven't you had breakfast yet? Taking the chance, Tang Wuyen shoved the breakfast into Chin-wook's hands. I've already eaten. This is just extra. Here, you can have it. With that, Tang Wuyen dashed into the building in a flash. Finally, she managed to get rid of that hot potato. Chin-wook understood immediately. It seems it's probably breakfast Grandma Tang asked Tang Wuyen to bring her. Chin-wook had no choice but to carry the bag of breakfast and walk inside. It was exactly rush hour. The elevator area was packed with people. But there was clearly one elevator entrance that was completely empty, yet no one seemed to go near it. Tang Wuyen skeptically pressed the button for that elevator, thinking to herself, could there be something wrong with this elevator? Finally, Tang Wuyen decided to ask the person next to her. The elevator over here has arrived. Aren't you coming? A colleague nearby was about to remind Tang Wuyen that elevator is reserved for the president. But just then, Chin-wook stepped into the elevator. He even deliberately held down the door open button and said, Tang Wuyen, why are you dawdling? Get in here already. Tang Wuyen saw that Chin-wook had already entered. It seems the elevator is working perfectly fine. Without hesitation, followed inside, leaving the group of colleagues staring at each other in confusion. Inside the elevator, Chin-wook was the first to speak. Is this the breakfast you brought for me? Tang Wuyen had a sudden inspiration. If Chin-wook personally rejected the breakfast he brought, he would have an explanation for his grandmother. Yes, but you probably already ate it, right? Seems I went out of my way for nothing. Who would have thought Chin-wook would act so unpredictably? Go ahead and keep leading the way. From now on, I won't have breakfast first. I'll wait for you to bring it to me. There was a playful glint in Chin-wook's eyes. This persona of a devoted admirer you've created. I must help you strengthen it properly. Don't even think about slacking off. I was completely stunned. How shameless can this person be? Chin-wook stuffed the bag back to Tang Wuyen and said, it's a pity that it's a bit cold. Could you heat it up for me? Having something to eat is already good enough. And now you're being picky with me. Chin-wook continued to stoke the flames and said, what's wrong? I'm willing to eat your lovingly prepared breakfast. You must be so thrilled you're out of your mind. Tang Wuyen's fingers clenched tightly around the bag, holding back the urge to throw a punch. Forcing a strained and awkward smile, he said, right, I'm so thrilled I could lose my mind. Chin-wook lowered his gaze, hiding the amusement in his eyes. And that's how Tang Wuyen's assistant job began. Handling documents and answering phone calls, typing up files, taking notes during meetings, running errands. They're all straightforward and low-risk tasks. Tang Wuyen's long-standing habit of staying up late and waking up late was disrupted, especially around 10 or 11 in the morning. At that time, Tang Wuyen would feel extremely sleepy. So drowsy, so drowsy, so drowsy. Chin-wook glanced at him with his eyes wide open. He looked like he couldn't stay awake anymore. Even though he tried to focus, his mind kept drifting off. It was clear that sleep was all he could think about. Tang Wuyen, forcing herself to stay awake, was busy taking notes. It was too noisy. Let's leave it at this for now. We'll continue in the afternoon. Chin-wook interrupted the meeting, stopping the project manager who was passionately delivering his speech. The project manager looked confused, wondering if he had said something wrong. After finishing lunch, Tang Wuyen sprawled out on Chin-wook's couch and quickly fell into a deep sleep. In the break room inside the office, Chin-wook was still going through some documents. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed. He had gotten used to this over the past few days. It must be Tang Wuyen falling off the couch again after dozing off, since the distance was a bit far. Chin-wook didn't catch Tang Wuyen's thoughts, so he got up and cracked the door open to take a look outside. And sure enough, he saw Tang Wuyen groggily getting up from the floor, climbed back onto the couch and fell asleep again. Xing Wuqie found it amusing to watch, so tired like this, even after falling, still able to sleep soundly. Thinking this way, Xing Wuqie walked out silently, stopped by the couch, looking down at Tang Wuyen who was sleeping peacefully. slightly messy strands of hair, eyes tightly shut, a face flushed with a rosy hue from sleep, naturally slightly parted lips, like a soft, defenseless little lamb sound asleep. Looks much more obedient while sleeping. Chin Wook's gaze fell on the small blanket lying on the ground. It seems it must have fallen to the floor along with its owner just now. Letting you sleep on the sofa is already an act of great mercy. No matter how many times you fall, it won't make a difference. I can't possibly let you sleep in my bed, can I? Chin Wook bent down to pick up the small blanket. This is a soft and skin-friendly blanket brought by Tang Wuyen, just like its owner. Chin Wook casually draped the small blanket over Tang Wuyen. Covering you with a blanket is already the utmost kindness. Without realizing it, Chin Wook's bottom line had already been repeatedly lowered. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Take it easy. A thin layer of sweat appeared on Tang Wuyen's forehead under pressure. Young Master Tang, this is just the usual strength. Why are you reacting so strongly? The masseur softened the pressure on Tang Wuyen's back. I'm just a struggling office worker now. Things aren't the same as they used to be, Tang Wuyen said with a bitter smile. Han Chocho, sitting nearby, asked after a week of work. How are you feeling about it? Not feeling great. Tang Wuyen was about to start explaining, then remembered there were others present, so he said he would tell you later, after the massage was over. Once the masseurs had left, Tang Wuyen finally shared his plans. I plan to work for a while, then I'll talk to Grandma, and tell her I've decided to give up. Then pretend to be someone who wants to talk about emotional intelligence. Grandma will definitely feel sorry for me. She won't have the heart to force me into a blind date anymore. You're actually going to work as Chin Wook's assistant now. It's all over the circle. There are no secrets in this industry. If they want to gossip, let them gossip. I guess Li Mingxing probably mocked you quite a bit. When has he ever said anything nice about me? He's just jealous of my looks. Isn't it just because I wasn't chosen as the campus heartthrob when I was young? It's not like I awarded the title to myself. The public has a clear and discerning eye. How can you place the blame on me? Han Chocho stretched lazily and said, if Chin Wook hadn't been exactly 3 years older than us, and hadn't attended a different school during that time, otherwise the title of campus heartthrob wouldn't have been up for grabs between the two of you. Tang Wuyen immediately felt indignant. Are you saying this face of mine can't compare to Chin Wook's? You and Chin Wook are completely different types. The title of campus heartthrob is decided by the girls. The girls seem to prefer his cold and aloof demeanor. Alright, whatever. Tang Wuyen clearly disagreed. Then tell me, what kind of type do you think I am? Han Chocho glanced at Tang Wuyen, who was obviously fishing for compliments. She decided to humor him, and said, you are like a charming little noble who outshines even flowers. Tang Wuyen let out a satisfied hum in response. Speaking of which, it's been several months since anyone saw Li Mingxing. During your grandfather's birthday celebration last time, he didn't even show up. Han Chocho smiled knowingly. I was just about to tell you. Li Mingxing reappeared a few days ago. He looks quite different now. Tang Wuyen immediately caught on. Are you trying to say, has she been away getting plastic surgery? Is that why she disappeared for a while? If her natural features aren't as good as yours, then she's relying on advanced technology to outshine you. I heard the results turned out quite well. It looks almost as if it were natural. Still, it can't compare to my completely natural look. Everyone knows you're naturally stunning. Alright, when we see Li Mingxing next time, I'm definitely going to tease her about it. Han Chocho added, there's one more thing. Chin Wuchie has now returned to the country, and he's planning to settle down here for good. He even agreed to let his admirer work as his assistant. Some people in the circle are starting to get ideas. This kind of thing is pretty common in the industry, Tang Wuyen remarked. No matter what, Chin Wuchie has been the head of the Chin family for several years now. Could someone else's little schemes really escape his notice? You can never be too sure about things like this. We've heard plenty of stories about unexpected failures. Take Li Mingxing's younger uncle, for example. He's considered quite a figure in the business world, isn't he? Yet he fell for a scam run by a small-time rice wine seller. It was utterly humiliating beyond belief. He is no match for Chin Wuchie. Let's not even talk about Chin Wuchie for now. I feel completely invigorated at the moment. Let's head to the sauna quickly to sweat it out. Han Chocho got out of bed and took off her massage outfit. She wrapped a towel around her lower body, threw on a bathrobe, and got ready to leave. Tang Huiyan also changed clothes along with Han Chocho. When they arrived at the sauna they usually visited, they were surprised to see two familiar faces. Qin Yulin, what are you doing here? Han Chocho noticed those mischievously smiling almond-shaped eyes, her brows furrowed, and immediately questioned. We came here for a steam bath. Why is it that this can't happen here? Qin Yulin, however, didn't seem to mind, showing no expression of surprise. Instead, there was a sense of calmness as if he had expected it. You really shouldn't talk about people behind their backs. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Qin Wu's gaze landed on Tang Huiyan. A slightly evasive expression crossed his face. Talking behind my back again. What did you say about me? Tang Huiyan noticed Qin Wu's gaze and immediately greeted him, President Qin. Qin Wu responded with a faint acknowledgement. All four people in the room were aware that this meeting was no coincidence. Qin Yulin and Han Chocho have been together for a year. He must be familiar with Han Chocho's habits. Qin Yulin raised his eyebrows at Tang Huiyan. The meaning was crystal clear. I helped you bring Qin Wu here. Could you also help me get closer to Han Chocho? Tang Huiyan's lips twitched slightly, sharing a glance with Han Chocho. If it were just Qin Wu alone, it would be fine. But now he turned around and left. This is completely disrespectful to Qin Wu. The two of them reluctantly stepped into the room. They sat down directly across from Qin Wu and his companion. Stay as far away as possible. Tang Huiyan was just about to take off the bathrobe, but was stopped by Han Chocho. Tang Huiyan looked at Han Chocho with confusion. Han Chocho awkwardly explained, "Don't take it off, don't give Qin Yulin the pleasure of looking." The room was small. Even if Han Chocho spoke in the softest voice, couldn't escape everyone's ears. Chocho, what you just said makes me sound no different from a ravenous wolf. Qin Yulin protested in dissatisfaction. Aren't you exactly that? Han Chocho sneered coldly. Qin Yulin thought about Tang Huiyan marrying Qin Wu. Wouldn't that make him share the same traits? Just as he was about to argue back, the door opened. Another person walked in. It was a young man with a towel wrapped around his lower body. Tang Huiyan and Han Chocho were seated to the side of the door. They couldn't see the newcomer's face. Qin Xiao, what a coincidence. Didn't expect to run into you here. Qin Yulin squinted his eyes and sized up the newcomer for a moment. Who are you? I'm Li Mingxing from the Li family. Tang Huiyan and Han Chocho exchanged a glance. Both caught a glimpse of surprise in each other's eyes. It seems you really shouldn't talk about someone behind their back. Speak of one and they appear. Mention two and both show up. Qin Wu finally lifted his gaze and glanced over. The person who arrived was someone from the Li family. Tang Huiyan recognized them. So it's you. It's been a long time since we last met. Didn't recognize. Apologies. Qin Yulin was aware that Li Mingxing and Han Chocho didn't get along. They hadn't been close before either. Although he noticed that Li Mingxing's face seemed a bit different from before. It appeared slightly altered compared to earlier. But he wouldn't address it directly. Li Mingxing looked at Qin Wu with a smile, asked who this person was, referring to Qin Xiao. Everyone knew. Li Mingxing is definitely here for Qin Wu. This kind of approach is something everyone in the circle is used to by now, but no one would ever call it out. After all, it's just about making an acquaintance. It doesn't cause any harm. He's my cousin, Qin Wu. Li Mingxing appeared both surprised and honored. So you're President Qin? I've heard so much about you. Haha. Li Mingxing was waiting for Qin Wu to speak. Unexpectedly, a sudden voice came from the corner, a mocking sneer laced with sarcasm. It was then that Li Mingxing noticed two more people were sitting behind him. Han Chocho sneered and remarked, "No one knows where," came over following the scent, and still pretends it's a coincidence. Han Chocho has always disliked Li Mingxing for her pretentious and affected demeanor, taking the lead to form the team. Li Mingxing's expensive face momentarily twisted, thinking about his own face at the moment. It's inconvenient to show too much expression. He managed to restrain himself. So it was you two all along. Do you even have the nerve to criticize me? Could it be that you two coincidentally appeared here like this? Li Mingxing understood everything in his heart. Tang Huiyan followed Qin Wu all the way here too. No one has the right to criticize anyone else. The curve of Han Chocho's lips carried a hint of mockery. She glanced over at Qin Yulin. I don't believe it could be such a coincidence either. Qin Yulin, why don't you explain it? Is there really such a coincidence? Qin Yulin, with a forced smile, tried to mediate the situation. The 4 major families of the imperial city have all gathered. If that's not a coincidence, what is it? You don't need to keep standing there. Hurry and take a seat. Li Mingxing still remembered to leave a good impression on Qin Wuk. So he sat diagonally across from Qin Wuk. It just happened to create a triangular standoff situation. Mr. Qin, sorry for the embarrassment. We simply enjoy bickering with each other. Li Mingxing appeared very confident and open, showing not a hint of shyness. Did the nose move? Did the chin move? Qin Wuk looked at Tang Wuyan with a puzzled expression. What is he thinking about? Is he playing the statue game? Li Mingxing noticed that Qin Wuk's attention was no longer on him. Instead, he was staring at Tang Wuyan. This made him feel extremely upset inside. I even had plastic surgery, and I still don't look better than Tang Wuyan. The cheeks have become thinner. Perhaps it's because of a facial slimming injection. The work looks quite natural, but it still doesn't look better than me. Qin Wuk finally caught onto Tang Wuyan's meaning. Unconsciously, he turned his head slightly to glance at Li Mingxing. Natural? Isn't the artificial touch quite obvious? What kind of judgment does Tang Wuyan have? Li Mingxing exchanged a brief glance with Qin Wuk. He was just about to flash a poised and charming smile. In the end, Qin Wuk shifted his gaze away once more. Li Mingxing silently encouraged himself. At least Qin Wuk had taken notice of him. He knew he wouldn't lose to Tang Wuyan. Compared to Tang Wuyan's relentless and persistent pursuit, his way of unintentionally exuding charm felt far more refined and was better at drawing people's attention. Li Mingxing took a deep breath and straightened his posture. The hand waved near the face. So hot. Han Chocho's gaze fell on Li Mingxing's intentionally highlighted abs. She rolled her eyes and said bluntly, it's really hot. Why not just untie the towel below as well? You two are wrapped up so tightly. Are you afraid of showing off all your fat? Don't worry, I would absolutely never make fun of the two of you. Han Chocho flashed a gentle smile. The face is artificial. Could it be that the abs are fake too? Tang Wuyan ultimately showed some hesitation in front of Qin Wuk. Han Chocho was the one carrying the entire effort. Even though the face isn't real, the abs are probably 80% real. What if I work out and get some abs of my own? Forget it. Too exhausting, but it's honestly a bit enviable. Qin Wuk felt inexplicably irritated. Here he is with his perfectly sculpted 8-pack abs, yet he doesn't bother glancing at anyone else's. A measly set of abs that wouldn't even make the cut, and he's still envious. Li Mingxing wasn't happy about it either. Plastic surgery is common in their circle. It's not really a big deal. Who with some money doesn't make slight adjustments? Getting a cosmetic procedure done. Everyone just tacitly agrees and moves on. Only Han Chocho would openly say it to his face. Besides, his abs are completely real and solid. Li Mingxing responded sharply. I think you're just saying the grapes are sour because you can't have them. Your grapes have way too many additives. I'm worried it might cause an upset stomach. Han Chocho showed no intention of backing down. The situation was growing increasingly out of control. Qin Yulin stood up and forcefully pulled Han Chocho out of the room. Chocho, the room was unbearably stuffy. Let's step outside to cool off and calm down. Qin Yulin let go of me. Han Chocho struggled but couldn't break free. Soon, only Tang Wuyan and the other two remained in the room. Li Mingxing glanced at Tang Wuyan, noticing how quiet he was, leaning silently to the side. He wondered why Tang Wuyan was so quiet today. Could it be that, after seeing my face, he felt ashamed of himself in comparison? Tang Wuyan, why are you not saying anything? Even Qin Wuk hasn't spoken either. Why don't you ask him instead? Tang Wuyan lifted his eyes and cast a glance at Li Mingxing. The way, it might be because your face looks quite unfamiliar. I tend to feel uneasy around strangers. I heard you're working as an assistant for Mr. Qin now. How's the job going so far? Mr. Qin Wuk is right here. I suspect you're about to cause some trouble. It's going well. Mr. Qin has been very considerate. Tang Wuyan's words were spoken with sincerity. Qin Wuk thought to himself, at least you still have a bit of conscience. At that moment, Qin Yulin came back, with a noticeable handprint on his face and a cut on his lip. Tang Wuyan, Qiu mentioned you were leaving. Tang Wuyan noticed that Qin Yulin didn't look very pleased. He said something to Qin Wuk, then hurried outside. Sure enough, he saw Han Qiu with swollen lips standing there. Qiu, seems like you all were pretty intense. Looks like things got quite heated between you. Tang Wuyan raised an eyebrow. He gestured towards Han Qiu's lips. He was the one who forced a kiss on me. I slapped him across the face. Han Qiu replied irritably. She grabbed Tang Wuyan and headed toward the changing room. She wasn't in the mood to stay any longer. Let's head back. I think Qin Yulin still has feelings for you. Are you really over him? I heard he's still single after breaking up with you. That's so unlike him. Who cares about his usual behavior? I've had enough of that playboy. Flirting around is just part of who he is. Habits are hard to change. It's impossible to alter someone's true nature. Tang Wuyan cautiously spoke up. Why don't you give him another chance? Han Qiu stopped in her tracks. She turned to Tang Wuyan and said with displeasure, Tang Wuyan, whose side are you on? You're actually speaking up for him. Seeing Han Qiu's unhappy expression, Tang Wuyan immediately showed his loyalty. Of course, I'm on your side. Let's not talk about him anymore. Speaking of Li Mingqing, I think he's starting to plot something against Qin Wuk. Hearing Tang Wuyan change the subject, Han Qiu's expression finally relaxed a little. I already said, surely many people's minds will start to stir. Moreover, Li Mingqing has always wanted to compete with you. If he manages to cozy up to Qin Wuk, not only would he surpass you, he'd also gain an advantage. The Qin family is truly a deal with no losses. Even someone like me isn't good enough for Qin Wuk. How could he possibly take a liking to him? Well, that's not something we can be so sure about. Maybe he just happens to have a taste for that kind of thing. Mr. Qin, over here in the sauna room, Li Mingqing had just started making small talk with Qin Wuk. But Qin Wuk stood up abruptly. He didn't even spare Li Mingqing a glance, and walked straight out of the room. Qin Yulin followed closely behind, leaving Li Mingqing sitting there awkwardly by himself, feeling completely at a loss. Is Wuk leaving now? The person you were after is already gone. What else is there for us to stay here for? Qin Yulin, frustrated, covered his face with his hand. Qin Wuk looked at Qin Yulin with a cheerful expression. Got beaten up. Qin Yulin stubbornly refused to admit defeat. This is what you call a sense of fun. You just don't get it. Persistently pestering someone isn't really your style. What I am doing here is called perseverance. Besides, Qiu definitely still has feelings for me. I can see it clearly with my sharp eyes. Qin Yulin sounded quite confident as he said this, but with my years of experience navigating the world of romance, I can't help but feel Tang Wuyan doesn't seem to like you that much. The way he looks at you seems off. Qin Wuk thought to himself. The way he observes isn't entirely accurate. I guess he just doesn't like me at all. Maybe he realized you two aren't a good match after getting to know you. The more Qin Yulin thought about it, the more convincing it seemed. Even if you like men, you're the one in control. He actually considered marrying you. This kind of personality clash is destined to be impossible between you two. Qin Wuk didn't respond. He turned the handle to his private lounge and said, by the way, why aren't you worried about him and Han Qiu getting involved in something? Qin Yulin followed him inside and casually replied, if something were to happen between those two, it would have happened long ago. I can tell they're both very clean and proper. That's not true. Qin Wuk remained silent. He grabbed a fresh set of clothes and headed into the bathroom. As soon as the hot water was turned on, steam began to fill the air. Every well-defined muscle of his body radiated strength. The contours of his sculpted physique were faintly visible. Water cascaded down from above, drenching him completely. Qin Wuk closed his eyes for a moment. The delicate young Master Tang was utterly incompatible with his own nature. Why is he so unlucky? The Qin group. Why are there two copies of the Wang family's proposal here? Qin Wuk quickly glanced over and found that the contents were different. Tang Wuyan shook his head, indicating he had no idea. Delivered by the front desk. Qin Wuk took a look at the business cards left on the two proposals. The path appeared to be filled with members of the Wang family. Is this asking me to choose between these two planning documents? Qin Wuk had a vague suspicion in his heart. the young Taoist named Xiao. Go and investigate the identities of these two individuals. I definitely don't want to be used as a tool by the Wang family. Tang Wuyan's gaze fell downward, landing on the two business cards scattered on the table. He first picked one up from the floor. I know who these two people are. Qin Wuk has been abroad for several years. He is indeed not as familiar with the social circles of the capital's elite as those who have been mingling there for years. Tang Wuyan, on the other hand, knows the people in these circles very well. The most important thing is, these two individuals happen to be the talk of the town recently. Qin Wuk gestured towards the bridge and glanced at Tang Wuyan. Let's hear about it. This Wang Dachu is already in his 30s. He is the eldest son of the Wang family. I've seen it a few times. Tang Wuyan lifted another business card and said, this Wang Luoxing has been quite famous recently. He's the illegitimate son of Mr. Wang. Mrs. Wang passed away this year, and that's when Mr. Wang brought him back. He even officially made his mistress his wife. Mr. Wang only has these two sons. Isn't this the beginning of a power struggle? When it comes to gossiping, Tang Wuyan just can't keep his mouth shut. I think that Wang Dachu doesn't seem like someone capable of taking over the Wang family. He's really trying every trick in the book, but it's all just minor efforts, and nothing substantial comes of it. What are you smiling about? A young lady's heart races wildly. It's truly not fair to blame President Qin for being drawn to beauty. Who wouldn't feel their heart stir at the sight of this face? Tang Wuyan's face carried a smile. The answer was no. I was simply smiling. You guessed it right. Yes, this outfit was indeed a gift from President Qin. The two ladies composed themselves. With an air of authority, she said, I advise you not to entertain any improper thoughts. A figure like President Qin's. This isn't something a mere assistant like you can meddle in. Could it be that the cherished treasure of the Tang family isn't worthy of being with Qin Wuk? A tall figure suddenly appeared beside Tang Wuyan. A commanding statement forcefully interrupted the conversation among the three. Both ladies of the Tang family froze. Their elder brother. Tang Wuyan recognized the person, and his eyes lit up instantly. The eldest of the Tang family. Tang Kexing patted Tang Wuyan on the shoulder, calming the anger that was evident in his eyes. In a steady tone, he asked which family you belong to, daring to threaten and intimidate the young master of the Tang family. Are you members of the Tang family? The two young ladies immediately panicked, fixing their gaze on Tang Wuyan, tentatively asked, Are you one of us? Tang Wuyan curved his lips slightly. I am Tang Wuyan. The name Tang Wuyan is quite renowned in the capital. Especially his bold declaration about marrying Qin Wuk. It has spread far and wide. The two young ladies were so shocked that their eyes widened. After realizing, they quickly lowered their heads and apologized to young Master Tang. We're sorry, we were wrong. Young Master Tang, it was our ignorance that led us to fail in recognizing someone of your stature. We beg you to please not hold it against us. Tang Kexing had no intention of letting them off the hook so easily, and continued pressing with an unhappy tone. Now tell me, is Tang Wuyan in our family worthy of Qin Wuk? Tang Wuyan, feeling awkward, was just about to say something to change the subject, when the two young ladies quickly replied, He is worthy, worthy indeed. Young Master Tang and President Qin are a match made in heaven. We're like toads dreaming of eating swan meat. We would never dare to covet President Qin. Tang Wuyan's lips twitched slightly. This time, would his image shift from a devoted admirer to a domineering person who forbids anyone from getting close to Qin Wuk and becomes a malicious pursuer? Tang Kexing let out a cold snort. Good that you understand, now get lost quickly. The two young ladies turned pale, but they still breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly walked away. Why are you being so harsh, big brother? Tang Wuyan tugged at his big brother's sleeve as he spoke. I was having such a great conversation with them. They've been bullying you already. How could big brother possibly tolerate that? Tang Kexing was over a decade older than Tang Wuyan. He practically treated his youngest brother, Tang Wuyan, like his own child, showering him with care. There's no way he'd stand by and watch him being wronged. I deliberately kept my identity hidden. Their reactions seemed genuinely surprising. Do you think I, Tang Wuyan, would let anyone push me around? Big brother, there's no need for you to worry. I guess I really am carefree and heartless. In Tang Kexing's eyes, there was still nothing but fondness. With a helpless tone, he addressed his big brother. Are you the only one who came? Did any of the other brothers come? Tang Huyen glanced around the area, but he didn't spot any other familiar faces. No, I came here as a representative. I just saw you a moment ago. It was only because I happened to have a partner to collaborate with. We chatted for a bit, which caused the delay. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let you feel wronged. I already said I didn't feel wronged. I'm the little tyrant of the capital city. How could I possibly feel wronged? Tang Huyen raised an eyebrow. It's nothing. Just wait until you win over Qin Wuk someday. Your brothers will help you teach him a good lesson. An embarrassed Tang Huyen quickly changed the subject. Big brother, don't stay out too late either. Don't keep your wife waiting too long at home. He already called me earlier, urging me to hurry up. I should probably get going soon as well. Should I take you home first? Tang Huyen really has a solid sense of responsibility as an assistant. I'm still working as Qin Wuk's assistant right now. How could it be that the boss hasn't left yet, while the assistant leaves first? Our Huyen has truly grown up. It's surprising how thoughtful he has become. Tang Kexing couldn't help but feel emotional for a moment. Big brother is genuinely relieved. Tang Huyen's feelings were beyond words. Isn't their family setting the bar for him way too low? Just that one sentence. It was so touching. After a few more affectionate words between the two brothers, Tang Kexing reminded Tang Huyen once again not to let anyone bully him. Only then did he leave first. Tang Huyen gazed from afar at Qin Wuk, who was engaged in a conversation with someone. It seemed like it wouldn't end anytime soon. Perhaps because of Tang Kexing's earlier appearance and the way he showed his closeness with Tang Huyen. No one else dared to bother Tang Huyen again. Tang Huyen felt utterly bored. Luckily, the liquor here was quite good. Tang Huyen drank several glasses alone. Savoring each sip, he started feeling a bit tipsy. Only then did he carry his glass to the hallway to get some fresh air. You're Mr. Qin's assistant, right? Tang Huyen leaned against the railing. He heard a question being asked from behind. Slowly, he turned around. The person approaching was dressed in a garish and tasteless manner. A slightly plump, middle-aged man faced Tang Huyen with a pair of murky eyes, inexplicably, causing Tang Huyen to feel a sudden sense of discomfort. I am Tang Huyen, he asked politely. Sir, who are you? My name is Chun Judong. I run a jewelry business in Haiqing. I recently came to the capital for some business negotiations. Work. Chun Judong stepped into the presence of Tang Huyen. He responded with a warm and welcoming smile. So it turns out to be you, Boss Chin. Hello there. Tang Huyen nodded slightly, greeting him with a sense of propriety. It's quite stuffy inside, isn't it? I came out to get some fresh air too. Chun Judong remarked in a casual tone. Tang Huyen naturally picked up on his intentions. Chun Judong's deliberate approach, pondering his intentions. Could it be that he wants me to introduce him to Qin Wuk? Or is he trying to dig out some information from me? Something related to Qin Wuk. It just so happens that he's feeling a bit bored now, so he decided to see what Chun Judong was up to. Tang Huyen made up his mind and followed along with Chun Judong's words. It is indeed quite stuffy inside. Chun Judong noticed that Tang Huyen did not reject his attempt to strike up a conversation and showed no signs of aversion. The smile grew even deeper, continued the conversation, asking how you would like to be addressed. My last name is Tang, and I work as an assistant. After all, Chun Judong is someone from out of town. Although there were some rumors about the Tang family in the imperial capital, it was not something given much thought. What connection does this young assistant have with the Tang family? Tang Huyen nodded slightly, waiting for news about Chun Judong. Assistant Tang must have just graduated recently. Tang Huyen clearly looks like someone new to the workplace. He exudes an air of inexperience and naivety. Tang Huyen secretly thought to himself, Grandpa, I graduated several years ago, but I do look younger than my age. Tang Huyen nodded happily and agreed. Yes, I just graduated. I wonder what Assistant Tang's family does for a living. Chun Judong continued trying to get closer. The family runs a small business. Tang Huyen still kept a sense of caution. The response was vague and unclear. Chun Judong understood it in his heart. The family situation was average. Yet, right after graduation, they managed to become Qin Wuk's assistant, and they were dressed in designer clothes. The answer was obvious. It was as if to confirm their own thoughts. Chun Judong asked tentatively. Judging by Assistant Tang's outfit, it seems quite pricey, doesn't it? Could it be a gift from President Qin? Tang Wuyen silently felt a bit irritated. It's just an outfit gifted by Qin Wuk, isn't it? Why does everyone seem to fixate on it? If I had known, I would have insisted on paying for it myself. Tang Wuyen took a sip of his drink. Resigned, he admitted, that's right. This entire outfit was indeed a gift from President Qin. Noticing Tang Wuyen's impatience, Chun Judong curled his lips slightly. He pulled out a delicate box from the pocket of his suit. Changing the topic, he said, by the way, I work in the jewelry business and happen to bring a little trinket tonight. Why not have Assistant Tang take a look and give me some feedback? Tang Wuyen was just about to respond that his knowledge of jewelry only extended to whether it looked good or not. Beyond that, he really couldn't say much about it. The gaze eventually landed on the open box in Chun Judong's hand and was momentarily captivated. Inside lay a bracelet encrusted with rubies, which appeared to be a piece of women's jewelry, but it did not come across as overly feminine. Its design was elegant and understated, appealing to Tang Wuyen, who was accustomed to wearing luxury watches and men's bracelets of various brands, sparking an unexpected fondness in his heart. What does Assistant Tang think? Chun Jidong caught the subtle admiration in Tang Wuyen's eyes. It was an unmistakable expression of fondness. He continued, Assistant Tang, you could try it on and see how it looks. It actually looks quite nice. All right, I'll give it a try. Tang Wuyen was just about to put it on and take a look. Without hesitation, he immediately took it. He put it on, as men's accessories are usually designed to be simple and understated. Tang Wuyen had almost never worn such brightly colored jewelry before, and unexpectedly, this time he got it right by accident, realizing that this vibrant kind of jewelry actually suited his taste quite well. His slender, fair wrist, paired with the blood-red, glistening gemstones. The bracelet shimmered with a faint glow in the night, resembling an alluring Western oil painting in miniature. Tang Wuyen thought to himself, what does it mean for this person to keep showing and letting him wear it? Could it be that they want to use him as a means to give this bracelet to Qin Wuk, instead of letting it fall into Qin Wuk's hands? Why not persuade Chun Judong to sell the bracelet to me? The more Tang Wuyen looked at it, the more he liked it. He asked Boss Chun, how much does this bracelet cost? Chun Judong smiled meaningfully, saying it's just 5 million. That's so expensive. Tang Wuyen was taken aback. The price was indeed higher than he had anticipated. It wasn't that he couldn't afford it. It was just because he had already spent most of his allowance for this month. Not long ago, he had purchased 2 more wristbands. If his grandmother found out, she would definitely start nagging him again. Chun Judong gave a small laugh. He wasn't surprised at all by Tang Wuyen's reaction. He explained that this ruby is a rare new type of ruby. It is slightly more expensive than ordinary rubies. Assistant Tang seems to have a liking for it. Indeed, he does seem quite fond of it. Tang Wuyen pondered over the matter. Maybe I should talk to Chun Judong about it. We could wait until next month to pay him back. I'm not sure if he would agree to that. Otherwise, would it work to use a credit card? Chun Judong noticed how Tang Wuyen seemed completely captivated by it, feeling much more confident now. Since Assistant Tang likes it so much, I'll give this bracelet to you. Tang Wuyen was stunned. Could there really be such a good deal? Or is it an attempt to bribe him into doing something? However, I have one condition. Chun Judong hesitated to speak, making no effort to hide the greedy glint in his eyes. With that statement from Chun Judong, Tang Wuyen's curiosity was piqued. He already knew that Chun Judong had a purpose for approaching him. He wanted to see what kind of plan Chun Judong was scheming. He actually dared to try bribing him. Tang Wuyen, intrigued, asked what the terms were. He said, let's hear it. Chun Judong saw that Tang Wuyen had indeed taken the bait. He steadied his mind. Finally, he revealed his purpose. I want you to stay with me for 3 days. Tang Wuyen, a man. Once again, it was the pampered young master of the Tang family. A whole crowd eagerly surrounded him, vying for his attention. It was unheard of for someone to actually ask for his company. Tang Wuyen, slightly intoxicated, found his thoughts sluggish. For a moment, he failed to grasp what was happening. He blankly asked, a company for what? Chun Judong's gaze carried an unhidden aggressiveness. It was filled with an unspoken hunger and desire. He referred to Assistant Tang. There's no need to feign ignorance while understanding perfectly well. Since you're already getting close to Qinwuk and still flirting with the eldest son of the Tang family, adding me into the mix shouldn't be a problem, right? If you can keep me satisfied, then giving you a few more pieces of jewelry like this wouldn't be an issue at all. Flirting with my elder brother. Tang Wuyan finally pieced it together. It's clear this person has ulterior motives toward him. It seems like they've been secretly keeping an eye on him all along, which led them to believe he was trying to get close to his elder brother. So it turns out, he gave her jewelry not because of Qinwuk, but because he had ulterior motives toward her. A wave of nausea hit her. Tang Wuyan felt so disgusted she almost threw up. Chun Judong noticed Tang Wuyan's ever-changing expression and stood there dazed, unable to react. The ruby highlighted Tang Wuyan's skin, making it appear delicate and fair. Chun Judong's wicked intentions grew even stronger in his heart. Reaching out, he attempted to touch Tang Wuyan's hand. Tang Wuyan suddenly snapped to attention. With a swift motion, he flung the little wine left in his glass right onto Chun Judong's face. Then, without hesitation, he hurled the glass straight at Chun Judong's forehead. You disgusting excuse for a person. How dare you try to touch me? Fueled by liquid courage, Tang Wuyan raised his foot and kicked without holding back. Meanwhile, Qinwuk had just about wrapped things up on his side. Scanning the entire venue, Tang Wuyan was nowhere to be seen. There was no familiar voice to be heard nearby. Where could he have gone? Qinwuk was about to call Tang Wuyan when a commotion and playful noises echoed from the hallway outside.